Have you ever looked at an ad of an Indian coaching center? It usually has mugshots of students. Beside their unhappy faces are their ranks, the scores they got in competitive exams. And have you noticed something strange there? Often the first-ranked student is the same in every ad of different institutes claiming credit for the student's score. How is that even possible? Did they attend 3 classes at the same time, or are the ads a lie? In a lot of cases, they are a lie and an exaggeration to show that these institutes are the best and to lure more students and parents. Because this is a big business. Tuitions in India are not just extra classes, they are a way of life. Back in the day, they were optional. Today, you cannot do without them. In 2021, 40% of Indian children opted for tuitions, and the number rises significantly in high school. 83% of high school students in India go to tuition outside school. And there are different kinds. Group tuitions, where one teacher sits with a bunch of students. Private tuitions, where the teacher comes to your house to teach one-on-one. Of course, it's more expensive. And then there are coaching centers like Byju's, Allen, Resonance, big brands charging big money to teach. And they're quite popular. They've captured India's middle class. But why are we talking about them tonight? Because the government is. The government has come up with new rules for coaching centers. They cannot enroll students below the age of 16, only high school students now. They cannot put out misleading advertisements, so no promising good marks or assured placements. They cannot hold classes for more than 5 hours a day, so students get some time to relax. And if a student leaves midway, they should be refunded. The full fees won't be lost. All of these sound reasonable, welcome moves. And they bring us to 3 main questions. 1, how big is India's coaching industry? 2, why do Indian children prefer coaching over school? And 3, why is the government regulating all of this now? First, let's look at the market size. It's massive and growing. Coaching in India is worth 58,000 crore rupees. By 2028, it will be 1,33,000 crores. The sector grows by almost 15% every year, and much of it is unregulated. Private tuitions and group classes at home cannot be regulated beyond a point, but the big coaching centers can be. The ones training you for competitive exams, IIT, JEE, NEET, UPSC and the like. They charge an average of 1.5 to 3 lakhs per student per year. The more personalized it gets, the costlier it is. And this is how it goes. You're bundled in a class with a group of people. You have classes from morning to evening. They give you study material. They give you mock tests. Every week you're evaluated. If you do badly, it's a disaster because the scores are sent to your parents, who are most likely paying through their nose. So can you imagine the pressure? Education is a prized commodity in India. It's still aspirational, almost like a currency. It determines your future. Most Indians tend to invest in education over healthcare. So they choose these coaching centers, and a lot of them really cannot afford it. They take loans to pay the fees for coaching, which means the stress on the student only multiplies, and the competition is very, very tough. Most of them don't even make it. You may have heard of Kota, a city in the state of Rajasthan. It's India's coaching capital. Every year, 300,000 students flock to Kota. 3 lakh students, some of them become doctors and engineers. Most of them do not, because millions are competing for a few seats. Take NEET, for example. It's the entrance exam to medical colleges. In 2023, over 2 million students appeared for it, for NEET. 2 million students. Do you know how many seats were there? Only 140,000, which means only 7% made it. The rest will have to try again or give up. In some cases, they end up giving up on life too. Last year, 27 students died by suicide in Kota. They could not take the pressure. So the government is basically trying to regulate this whole business of coaching. It may be a step in the right direction, but it doesn't address the fundamental problem. Why do students need coaching? Why is school education not enough? The answer lies in our population. India has more than 260 million school-going children, but just 1.4 million schools. Clearly, the resources do not match the demand. There aren't enough teachers or classrooms or funds, and there's rampant corruption. all of it leaves us with an education system that is insufficient. For example, 50% of children in class 5 in rural schools cannot read or write in class 5. They cannot read or write. So clearly, the education system is not good enough. And if you want to make something of yourself, you'll have to look for alternatives, in this case, tuitions. So while regulating the coaching industry is fine, the government needs to look at schools. The national education policy was a starter, but more will have to be done. As the need for education increases, infrastructure and facilities have to keep up, because education may be a ticket to a better life, but it cannot come at the cost of financial ruin and lives.